A big hello to all my friends, old and new. A very warm welcome to you all, and I'm so glad you chose to stop by today. How about painting some leaves today? And I guess it would be a great practice session for all of us struggling to paint leaves for pretty flowers. The materials needed for today's project are all listed over here. Then let's go ahead and begin with chapter number 1, the pre-painted roses on a canvas board. So here you can see the bookmark with the mauve rose and the sentiment, which I had created in my last video tutorial. And in case you have missed this episode, then in that case please go ahead and click on the link which appears on the right hand corner of this particular screen. The next thing which appears underneath the bookmark, here I'm talking about this canvas board. Here you can see some pre-painted magenta roses. I also went ahead and created a little background around the roses to fill in the board. Now this particular bookmark rose is very similar to the ones which I have created on the board. Hence, today's project will be totally focused on painting the leaves around the magenta roses. That brings us to chapter number 2, painting the leaves with acrylic colors. So here are some of the brushes which I would be using today. A couple of flat brushes, 5, 4, 2 and a liner brush. I might use the filbert brush, but I'm not sure at this point of time. They are well loved and very old brushes, and I still use them. So here is a flow enhancer or a retarding liquid, and I'll tell you why I use it. The next is a bowl of clear water, and here is an acrylic sheet which I would be using as a palette. It has white acrylic, sap green, olive green, yellow ochre, blue turquoise, purple and magenta. Alright, so I pick up my flat brush number 4 and I dip it in sap green, olive green and a bit of white, and I also go ahead and add a tad bit of yellow ochre to it, and I try to blend it well. Now you see I have 4 colors on the same flat brush number 4. Now before I go ahead and paint the leaves, I go ahead and pick up my flat brush number 2. Now I have dipped it in a bit of sap green and olive green, and I'm just trying to paint along the edges of the petals. Not all of them, just some. This exercise will help me to create leaves that will literally stand out in the dark. Next I go ahead and bring in a little bowl of the retarding solution, and I just gently dip the flat brush number 4 into it, and this will help to keep the acrylic colors moving for a longer period of time. Essentially it means that the acrylic colors have a very quick drying time, and that is retarded when I dip it into the solution. Hence the name retarding liquid. So here I'm creating some very dark leaves with the help of sap green, olive green and white. But for this particular leaf you can see I have added yellow ochre to it, so it is much more lighter as compared to the first two. As we keep changing the proportion of the greens and the ochres, we get various kinds of leaves in various shades. Now at this point I bring in my golden yellow acrylic color, and it has the capacity to change the green color into a more tangier one. You will see it in a bit. Alright, so here you can see that yellow on the brush, and let's see what comes out of it. That's white acrylic, sap green, white again, and yellow on the brush, which is already there. So the leaf which you see is a little more lighter and tangier, I guess. I can't find a better word for it. Next, I went ahead and added a bit of purple to the mix of greens, and the result is a more purplish green leaf, which happens to be so different from the rest of the leaves I have created so far. For my new friends who have joined in today, let me tell you a bit about the technique of painting leaves which I am using for today's project. This particular technique is known as the decorative technique or stroke painting technique, and this involves using 2 or more colors on the same flat brush. When we go ahead and blend the colors well and then put the brush on paper, it will help us in creating highlighting as well as blending with a single stroke of the brush. Isn't that interesting? Now, if you would like to know more about this technique, and if you are also interested in creating floral paintings or nature paintings, then in that case I would encourage you to please visit my past floral video tutorials, and you will be able to get an insight about the technique involved. However, you still have thoughts or queries or opinion regarding the particular technique or any of the floral videos which I have put up in my art channel, then please go ahead and let me know in the comment box below. I would be very happy to help you. At this point, I have already reached the right hand dark corner of the canvas board, and I'm trying to create some very dark leaves with the help of white and olive green on my flat brush number 4. Once done, I go ahead and create some ochre and green plus white leaves around the rose which is facing downwards. Now here is a tube of burnt umber acrylic color, and I will go ahead and bring in my liner brush now, and I would be picking up some of the burnt umber and try to connect the leaves to the rest of the painting. The liner brush helps me to create very thin lines. So I go ahead and create some more branches. That is a thicker branch because it holds the rose. I go ahead and add a bit of white highlight to the branches. Next, I bring in my flat brush number 4, and this has a bit of purple and magenta and a bit of white on it, and I'm trying to create some buds for the roses. These are very tiny images, and I'm just trying to cover the blank spaces in the painting, although I will keep in mind that I need not clutter the entire space with buds or leaves. Next I go back to my greens and whites and the ochres and I create some more leaves and also the sepals of the little buds. Dear friends, I hope you are enjoying the process of painting the leaves around the magenta roses, and I hope it looks good so far. I'm trying my best to make it more real so that you can find some kind of a movement in the painting. Painting is all about light and dark areas. So here I bring in some lighter leaves. This is my flatbush number 4 with sap green and a lot of white. So those will create some very light leaves around the hanging branches and also the dark areas. And it will help to add some interest to the painting. Dear friends, we have reached the final chapter and here I would be revealing the finished look of the painted panel. So there you go. This is how it looks. And I have gone ahead and added a sentiment here, as this will be a thank you gift for a very kind soul. So we should certainly count our blessings, but we should also make our blessings count. Wonderful, isn't it? So my dear friends, that brings us to the end of today's floral video tutorial. Hope you enjoyed watching me paint the leaves around the magenta roses. We'll be looking forward to your thoughts in the comment section below. Also, please join me on my social media handles if you would like to, and that would help me stay in touch with you. And as always, thanks for all your support and for watching till the end. We'll be back very soon with another brand new episode. Till then, keep painting and bye-bye.